Right then, bish bosh, job done. Paint over it, bit of white, bit of black, bit of underbody, put the engine in, we'll sell it. What we've got going on here is we've got a socket up behind the plastic clip, and if you push the socket onto the back of it, it closes the legs in and allows you to pull it out. There we go, perfect. Just give us that socket, mate. See, the socket goes on there and it allows you to close the clips in. There you go, another useful tip. Cheers for now. The cleanup begins. That's the grubby half, because of course you've got to, like, you know, show the contrast. And this is the ungrubby, this is the cleaned half. Just water and some soapy detergent washing powder stuff. Once we get it clean, we can get in there and start looking at patching things up. As usual, darkness prevails, but what Austin's doing here is paint stripping the rusty area. It's dark, I should have grabbed the torch, but there we go. So paint stripper on there, get the rust off, or the paint off, sorry. Get the paint off, and then we can start looking at welding this up. There you go, there's a brighter shot, just so you're not left in the dark. What Austin's doing here is washing it with phosphoric acid, and what this will do is dissolve all the rust out. You can see in certain areas changing colour. I'm not going to bother doing too much on the top because it's going to be cut out, but this chassis leg has got to be properly rust converted, because I don't intend on replacing that, and there's some reasonable pits in it, so I want the acid, the phosphoric acid, to go right down into the pits. I'll wash it all out. So yeah, as I was saying, I've just got the seam sealer out, now we're rust converting it. And the next step will be to make some templates up. So we'll probably go with the tape, sort of flexible shape pattern tape type template with some stuff drawn on it, because this top bit here is quite complicated. There's valleys and peaks on it. We haven't decided to replace the battery tray. We may well stick the battery in the boot, but I guess that's got to be done in an authentic manner rather than just a flat plate over the top of it. So yeah, we'll copy that. There's a line over there and there's peaks and troughs. So as I say, tape and stuff written on it, so that I can get over to a sandbag and I can stretch and I guess chase the details in. Right, I've got rot here and cracks here and stuff, so the first decent metal is up here, so I am gonna do the whole lot. Take this lower edge around here, through here, and then up to this flange, make this flange again here, this upturn here, and then all the way around here obviously. So first of all, because it's wibbly wobbly, channels, troughs and whatnot, I'm going to make what Ray from Pro Shaper calls a flexible shape pattern. He does it for E-type wings and really complicated stuff, and then you can turn them inside out and use them for the other hand, left and righted. I'm going to start off, probably won't do exactly how he does his, the materials aren't quite the same. I'm going to start off with this mesh. So I'm going to lay this down, and then I'm going to put masking tape over it at 2 angles, 45, well 90 opposing angles. I'm not going to go straight, I'll actually come across 45 and then the other way as well. So we'll see how that turns out. That's now the area meshed with the fibre mesh tape. So now I'll run over it with the masking tape in 2 planes. That's the first layer of masking tape done. Through all the bumps and contours and whatever in there. So now I'm going to do another layer going across the other way. I guess it looks pretty if nothing else. So what I'll do now is draw the contours on. The edges and the contours and whatnot, so that the waves and whatnot mean something when I peel it off, and then I can trim it to size as well afterwards. There's a fair bit of features and whatnot to be gotten. I have very little to comment, other than I believe I've got all the corners, highs and lows that I need to replicate the piece. So if that's the case, I can pull it off. And then we can cut a piece of metal to size or oversize and start stretching these areas, because we've got to, guess, on a sandbag, knock those areas out and then sort of chase the edges and whatnot, because that's stretched there, stretched. I guess that's stretched the other way. Got a curve to it there. This will be a giggle. Let's see what I can make out of this. What that mesh does is holds it all together. And to try peeling this off here, which doesn't have the mesh on it, it just wanted to rip. And then you get around here where the mesh is and it don't rip. Probably best just to cut through that. There we go. That is my patch panel with all its shape. Apparently. So just really, I can trim this edge up now. That's where it didn't have any material. It's just much rust. Trim it around there. That's alright. Just trim it, yeah. Yeah, that works. Just trim that up a bit and got my skizzers. And we'll have a little play with that. What a chap on Ray, I can never say his surname. It's CH something. Pro Shaper. What he does is put a bit of talc, a bit of baby powder or something on the back of this to take the stickiness out of it, and I can sort of see why he does it. Makes it a little bit more handleable. But yeah, I'm going to trim that up. Right, all the gear and no idea. So I've got my stump out, my sandbag out. That is actually the old blank window out of the Transit, which happens to be metal from an old shelving unit. So it's a mil thick, it's got powder coat on it, so what? It's the right, I guess, hardness. I've got sheets of new 1 mil zinc, but that stuff's just too hard, too stiff, and I'm never going to stretch these areas out and get things going. So first of all, I shall make my shape. Which way shall I do it? I'm wasting it anyway. Probably this way, I guess. So come down here, across to there. That's more than big enough. Put that up there so I'll forget it. Right, jumbo shears time. I'm going to have to put the fan on in a minute because it is so hot. It was up to 40 degrees yesterday. It's only, what is it? It's just about 9 o'clock in the morning here. I'm absolutely sweltering already. Anyway. Right, there we have it. That's my blank. What I need to do now is to try and transfer some of these details over. I'll give it a reference. I think I would like a reference there, reference there, reference there, so that I can put this down in the right place each time, and I can start marking out where my bumps and ridges are. So I'm going to put it on time lapse, so put the fan on and it won't drown everything out, because it will just bleeding up everywhere. It's just too hot to not have a fan on. Trust me, things may fly away, but there you go. Yeah, blown away. I'll deal with all that. Cue the time lapse, cue the music. So as always, the camera on time lapse is unattended, so you don't see the battery power dropping, and ultimately it phases out and you're left bashing around with nobody seeing. So I continued bashing around with nobody seeing, and came out looking like this. I've actually almost abandoned the use of the pattern now, because there was some stuff on there that didn't quite pick up, and that was the fact that this was sort of high all the way around here and this was sort of low all the way around here, and they didn't get these in here, which is fine because they got me in my 5 main features which are in there, and I'm crisping them out now even though they're not supposed to be that crisp. So I got the 5 main features, and then sort of taking it from there. So if I go over here, you can sort of see that, no, I can see that it does the job. You might not be able to. Bit of a kick up there. This bit has turned out bigger than it is on the car, and that bit there a little bit different shape, but it does the job. It adds the strength to the panel. I mean, it's rigid. It was a floppy panel before, and it's rigid now. So I'm going to continue. What I'm going to do now probably is take the pen marks off and continue fettling it, getting out the dings and flattening it and starting these ripples through here. Can't going to do the finger in the camera with one hand there. So yeah, just carry on sort of tickling it, and then I'm going to start trimming it to size. I shall trim this a bit and then cut a bit of that out, and then trim this a bit more and then cut a bit of that more out, and just sort of generally ease it in. Because of the shape and size of it, there's no chance really just to flop it down and get it in 1 or 2 hits. So it's going to need to be teased in. You've got this to be tipped, so I won't be cutting that front edge there yet, but I need to probably do that bend here, because that tips up there, so I can get it in the right place there, and then work on the back edge. Hopefully there's enough good material on this lower level to be able to overlap it first. So I won't get back on time lapse now. I've got some battery, and continue fettling it. But as a first, I think I'll get rid of all the pen marks. It's getting a bit confusing now. I'll be cutting this out now then. So that's good there. Follow that round. I think my camera needs to follow my finger. Cut across here. I'm going to keep that. Come around here. Across the top of that. Leave some space, leave that about that much space. So that's good metal along there. And then follow this around here. And up through there, take that off. I'm not going to replace the whole flange, we'll blend it in. So, out with a grind. Well, I'll mark it with a pen first. That sort of goes in there. Looks a bit funny with its blue and its grey and its whatnot, but we'll blend that all in, sand it all down. So cutting. Right, the start for 10 is to cut out that line there. So we get that section out the middle, drill spot wells out here, and then we'll be left with this bit here. But once that's out, it's my little lizard friend. Once that's out, it'll be easier to take this out. You can just sort of bend it up and drill. And these aren't original wells, these are gas wells that somebody's done. These are original spot wells there, and these are somebody's gas wells. Jumped a few steps ahead. I was just pulling the flange off of that yesterday when my hand slipped and sliced it open on the open metalwork there. So I've just been plodding along today because got a sore hand. Oh bless. So anyway, I've been trimming this up bit by bit. Trim and measure and trim and measure, and now I've got the clecos in and it's down pretty good. It's not as tight as it should be in this corner, but I can move that bend when I get there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tip this. I'm going to tip this down here. Probably wants to go down a little bit, stretch a little bit down there a bit more. But yeah, I'm going to just tip that over. And then maybe trim the length a little bit, but then I'll leave it. And I'm going to repair the flange just underneath that, and I'll move on to this area here. Because that's all ready, really. And I've got the other 3 pieces done, and I can do all the welding at one time. So, because I'm trying to tip this down, and it'll have a curve this way, it's obviously going to pucker up. No, it's not, it's just going to try and straighten out. It's not going to pucker up at all. It has a slit here, which is a bit unfortunate because that's sort of causing a bending point. But what I'm going to do anyway is just do a bit of gentle stretching along here, and then planish it and stretch it and planish it just to get it down a bit further, rather than just smashing on it. My jaws don't want to open. There we go. Right, and you want to stretch on the edge just a bit to feel it go. You see it. I might have to just, I don't know, bash it. Now, you can feel it bending as you tweak it. It's a bit more curve in this sort of general area. So, I should give it a bit more curve in that general area. is actually sitting now in the car. This edge here is just sitting a little bit high. But what I'll do is I'll just planish that out first because it's all a bit wibbly wobbly still, and I'll see where we are from there. It's not a very precise line anyway originally, but yeah, there we go. Right. So there it is dropping in there and looking quite good and tight-ish, but we'll check it on the inside. You can see, maybe you can see, there's a whole dip there, which I'm missing out on. So there's some rectification work there. Definitely some rectification work. It's a bit dark, isn't it? You see there? Yeah. So I'm going to draw a template of that profile on cardboard and see if I can stretch the piece, too bloody dark in there, to match. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard along here, draw the line on it, the complete length, and then I can marry it up onto the patch panel and use that as a profile gauge. So that's that profile on that card. So let's say so a lot and drop things. Do is I cut that out, and from that end it is, I'll put that on there and I'll shrink it. I think shrink it. No, I need to stretch it. Right, yeah, because I want more material in there. So I'm going to stretch it until I can get that profile. So that's the gap. This could cause a problem with the length. Could make us now too short. We'll see, because I can glean some material out of this end, but let's get the profile right first. I was probably a bit hasty in cutting the length down here. Cutting that length, getting that turn on there. There's always something in there. If it was that easy, I'd be better at it. A bit like this camera work. Okay, let's see if I can get a kick in it. We'll start there. Let's draw the thing on there, right? And the other thing that might help is to trim down this length, because I don't actually need all that. I'll do that now. Right, I'll make things a little bit easier, perhaps. So shrinking may be one thing to do there, but I guess maybe I have to stretch it, get it to go back down again. I think that's likely, but I'm going to stretch it, shrink it the other way. A bit more down here. Yeah. So we're touching there. Maybe a bit more in there. Try that again. Try that in there. That's fairly close. I think now what I've got to do is from this point on, bring it back around again. You need that to go flat now. Oop. Change over the dies. Let's see what it does. In the middle there. Down here, further down here. That moved. There we go. That ain't far out at all. I'm not sure what's happening this end. I have to put it back in the car and see what this end's doing, but I suspect this end's also severely kicked up, and I've got to bring that back round as well. Right, just as I suspected, that end's kicked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the template longer so that I can cover the whole length of the workpiece. Right, so I've extended the template, and what you can see here is that it follows the profile of the bulkhead all the way around to there, and then out till there, right? And then the gap starts. So what I've got to do is shrink it in there to kick that round. So I've got the shrinking dies in. I just mark, I keep using the wrong end there. Oh no, I did have the right end. Oh, whatever. Right, that's where it sort of goes off. Oh, keep the camera, why don't you? Still good, yeah, right, okay. Sorry about the noise in the background. It's my fan because it's blinking hot at the moment. Right, I'm just going to try it in about there first. Feel it coming around now, yeah. You can actually see it working, which is reassuring. You don't actually, because that's a flat section, you don't actually want to interfere with anything along there. So all the shrinking has got to be done before that, because you want to just kick that around. I think that the shrinker just broke, I'm not sure. I'll pop that spring out again. Yeah, still going to come around a bit. something slipping there. Right, to pull that apart and inspect it. Right. What's going on there? Still some more to come round. It is coming, but there's also an issue. I don't know what's happening there. Oh, that's coming around now. Very close. Very close now. Just literally a couple of, I don't know whether I'm too high there. Just literally now a couple of, well, 3 or 4 mil. It can hold out on me for that long. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to strip it apart and find out. That's not bad. Check it on the car, see if there's any daylight. So this is what the panel's looking like now. Obviously still too long down there. We're not working on it at the moment. We didn't seem to lose any lengths on doing it. All the clicos still go in. The shape looks spot on, the curve to it. Just got a tiny bit under here. There's a bit of a gap there, which is literally about 3 or 4 mil. And I think that I can just do a little bit more settling and get that in. But what I'm going to do first is rebuild that lip and do the other bits and pieces, I think. Just in case things move, because I'm not ready to weld it in yet, and that might clamp down actually. We'll see. We'll see. Don't want it under stress, but that's good. Tiny little bit of a mismatch here. So I can move that crease line and get that right. That's a bit too long anyway, so we can trim that off. Okay, enough rattling on. I get the perfect match just in this area, but that area there is rotten and nasty. So it's lovely all the way around there. It's not too bad actually up there, but that's got to be replaced. So we'll take care of getting that to match nicely when I replace that. I've just been up in here with the grinder. This is obviously not supposed to be as holy as it is, so I'm going to get the fiberglass matting out and the newspaper and just cover that all up. Yeah, right. Now I'm going to get the tape and try and make one of these 3D shapes. So what am I talking about? Flexible shape pattern. That's what I'm going to make. So put down the fibre tape and the masking tape and try and capture the surface shape and area